start unless you wanted to start by the L. Because I know you wanted to go over, you wanted to talk about AMD, right?
Yeah, you can do. Yeah, you should bring up the chart.
Okay. Um, Actually, let's look at it on a day. Okay, so when did you get in this?
Uh, I think I got in on the Doji Cross when it was. Go back to the weekly chart for me. So I think I got in when. Not even sure, when I got into this. This is what I mean. It's so messed up.
Well, do you know what were you targeting this PMG? Were you
I was targeting the next week, the weekly low where your blue line is. So it
okay.
started to come down where the wick is, and then obviously it reversed on
Yeah.
itself to create the hammer.
Yes, which actually if that goes in force, that's a
Mm.
nice little move for next week. But and yeah, it did trigger the two up, two down a month, but then it came back in.
And that's what I was looking at.
Also for it to go that on down on the monthly. I got you. I got you.
And I think that's why I bought so much time.
And actually,
And when we expand,
it could still H. Well,
mm.
how much time did you have?
I've closed it now, but there was like 21 days, I think.
Okay.
But I cut the loss.
So it looks like it TTO'd these people right here and reverse from there. Um, so for me, if I had played this, usually when I'm playing and swinging something like that, um, I move my stops to the top of the daily candle
Mm.
like that. So, and then this one, well, I probably would have gotten stopped out either here or if I didn't because it was still here, it may have stopped me out when it did this two up. So that's the only thing I can advise is maybe having the stops at the top of the daily candle. I know Sarah does that. That's kind of where I got that
Mhm.
from.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just lesson for me because when I deviated from Spy or SPX, I went to do the swing. It just, it's just not my strategy. So
Yeah, yeah. You have to stick with what works for you. That's
mm.
for
I
sure.
agree. Swinging is not for me. I think that's why I got clapped.
You can swing, girl. Bye. It's just I think that the same practices that you use for scalping, I think you should use for swinging. Like with swinging, I mean with scalping, you're pretty disciplined about taking your money. So with swinging, maybe it's just a different strategy, but you have to be this has the same discipline. Maybe when you see that it's done this, you'll trim some off here and leave runners because even though it hasn't made it all the way to your target, you know that it's starting to come back in or it took out it TTO'd because you play the 15-minute TTO all the time. So if you see this
Mm.
TTO in the week, it could be the same thing. All right, well, let me go ahead and take my profits or take some and just leave a runner. Um, that way you're not getting clapped or saying that, because it did work for you. Like you were right. It's just started to come back in, and we did this. No, it's not a gap. Well, it's a tiny. No, that's not a gap. But also knowing that we had fallen so fast and so far, just knowing that there had to be some type of taking profits and stuff like that. So I still think that y'all can do it. Just like I say I'm not a scalper, but I think that I just have to do better about scalping. Like I don't know. I'm not. The same way y'all feel about swinging. That's how I feel about scalping. I get nervous with it, whereas I don't get nervous with swinging. But that's key. Kiki gets nervous with swinging versus
Hmm.
hopping in a day trade at work.
Right.
But yeah,
Very true.
But yeah, I still think that y'all can do it. Don't completely give up, but yeah, you have to stick with what works. Did you have anything else you was looking at for the week?
Apple.
You said who?
Apple.
Oh, Apple.
Well,
Yeah, Apple. Nice hammer there.
yeah. 2 down, 2 up on the day.
Okay. And we're right at this resistance here. It's at an interesting spot. It's nice range though. I think Rob would call this a compound bar though, so kind of like a mother bar almost. But yeah, you targeting this 200 or this strat target here,
Yeah.
which I think that's the same on the week. And there's a slight gap here. 163.61. So yeah, that looks good. I said this 50 will probably be a resistance, and then this 8. But yeah, I like Apple as well. Which is interesting. Apple, in the month is coming back in. So I don't know necessarily that we were outside month. I mean, we'd have to be completely opposite of what September normally is, which not to say that we can't, but yeah, it's definitely coming back in. But, it's still something we want to keep in mind. What is this? This is why I had that trouble on Friday breaking this 157 area because it's last month's low. So that may be good. This must be a daily. I have no idea what this one is. Let me see. So, do we bust this downtrend or what? I think if we do, we definitely will get some force. Yeah, Apple looks good. We might want to get a. It's not really kind of an H. Let's see. We shall see. But yeah, I like Apple. So I guess I can get into a couple of the ones that I was looking at for the month. I wanted to go through some of the things we had talked about last week, and how they kind of like switched up, just like Apple. The shooters starting to come back in, but BA is still kind of holding under this the trigger for the 2 up, 2 down. So it's still in force. On the week, it's having trouble here, but on the day, that are probably like the only shooter that I found on all my scanners. It's mostly a lot of things ended as 2 up, but it looks like we filled this little gap almost, not quite. It may be rejecting, so this actually may still be good for the month if they still decide to go 2 up, 2 down on Monday, and then reverse back into full time frame continuity. So here's the quarter open. It's here 135. So yeah, that's a while actually. It would have to fill this whole thing to be full time frame continuity, but yeah. And it looks like it partially filled this fair value gap, so it's something to be aware of. We also talked about Amazon. So what I wanted to point out was a lot of things. The shooters, we did talk about this last week. We took out last month's lows, so that sets up the 50% rule. And a lot of things did outside weeks so quick, I missed a lot of them. being busy Wednesday and Thursday. I missed a lot of moves this week, but there's always a play. Anyway, so a lot of these things they came back up outside weeks, so now they're like triggering outside months or they're close. So Amazon is one. QCOM is not triggering the outside month, but still aware of this shooter and how it's still close to being enforced. So these are things I'm just putting on your radar. New completely turned around. It's not much range left on that outside month, but just aware, shooters that TTO and then come back in. It's perfect outside, whatever, week, month, whatever. Netflix is about to trigger. So, and we know that also has this gap on the day. So this is if we're bullish next week. A lot of these stocks ended very bullish on the week, and time frame continuity is turned green. So unless there's a rug pull, we're looking really bullish. Hun is another one that took out the lows and came back in. It's not quite triggered yet, but it's close. With the ATR, I could do that in a couple of days and trigger. Have to see. These are points of resistance, though. LVS is another one. Came back in. This one is in force over the 3786. So y'all see this happens a lot after inside bars. Meta, I was supposed to talk about last week and I didn't, because I wanted to put it last and then forgot about it. But it's not a strat signal. I'd like to point that out. Inside, double insides, triple insides are not strat signals. But what it is a technical analysis signal that there's consolidation there. And we like consolidation because it's a base. That means it's basing here for a breakout in either direction. So usually you might want to play that breakout. We know Meta did awesome on Friday, but it's still inside month. So now it's still like a triple inside month, but you kind of want to be aware of things that are consolidating this long because they're usually going to just boom at some point. So on the week, me and Kiki were actually talking about this in the chat. You can target, we closed above this 8, so you could target this strat target, which is 171, right around 171, and then 181, which is also the 20.
Mm-hmm.
And then to see how you can see that kind of how it's been doing the last few months, it's basing. It's looked like it's built a pretty solid support here. And I mean, that support could be broken, could boom, but either way, it's still consolidating here. So we like to look for breakouts because that'll usually give us nice big green and red bars. So it's something I would keep an eye on. And it can also be traded into J. This was actually a really good play on Friday. That break above, crossover, it took off. And then there's a small gap there at 174. That's a 4-hour gap. Yeah, it's a 4-hour gap. Okay, and then HD, it's another one hasn't triggered yet, but it took them out and it's coming back in. So, and we talked about SQQQ as an inverse to the Qs, but you see how the Qs are bullish now, so this is coming back in. So this is triggering the outside month to the downside. So if we stay bullish, puts can be played on this. And you see that rejection there. So, and then one of Kiki's favorites is another I wanted to point out that is sitting at the trigger for the outside month. Also took them out. And it's coming back up. So yeah, so those are some of the setups that we were looking for. I like to start out the month looking at stuff and then watch them all month and see how the price action does. That way, a lot of times you're also not jumping all over the place. You're kind of keeping an eye on some of the same stocks because they can be played both ways. Like cost. So Kiki and I swung cost from last week as puts. This is from here. Yeah, we swung that puts, got out here. And then I did play calls. Kiki didn't get any calls because she
I
went
did
into
not play
something else.
balls. I was kind of like just watching it. I'm kind of
Yeah.
upset when they actually really ran, but yeah.
And it ran, yeah. I did play calls, but I only played it on this day. So I got out here, but it continued to go and actually it did an outside week.
Yeah, actually, the day we got out was the day reverse. So how we
Mm-hmm.
just sold our puts and got in the calls, we would have been good.
Good,
I think
yep.
it was a $20 run up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So sometimes you can just watch something a whole week and just play it, especially something that moves like this, where you can just play it both ways
right.
and not have to do a whole lot. That paid very well. So, um, okay, so let's take a look at SPY. I have to take these off. Thank on it. There we go. So SPY is coming back in for the month. We know we did an outside week last week. And so, we're coming up on some resistance here with these EMAs, but we also are coming up on this outside month. SPY could definitely do it. And the reason I say that is because if we are bullish and we do make it through this mother bar, we do have a slight gap here at 421, and then we could target the 200, which, here was 430, now it's coming down some 426. I don't really think we would get to push this. I don't think we have enough strength for that, but we're always ready either way, and we know that a break above here, we have a fair value gap to fill. We have a gap to fill here, but we also just created a small gap here, and we still have the gap down here to fill. So, when we talked about it last week, we were right here, talking about this head and shoulders. This is the shoulder, head, shoulder. But on a larger time frame, we have a inverse head and shoulders possible. So, if this larger one plays out, this could definitely boom. Short term, this is actually kind of a inverse, but this isn't really a shoulder. So, but I was saying on the pre-market movers, the morning show was that we've based here, and we talked about bouncing in between 390 and 400. Basically, it's just like noise. So we were looking to either break the 390 and hold below that, or break the 400, because otherwise it just was really ironing out this area right here where it fell from before and didn't really get to iron out, as you can see right here. So it needed to iron that out. This gap was kind of ironed out here, but this one wasn't. So kind of interesting to see what we do. MACD hasn't crossed yet. Yeah, so do we 3-2? Yeah, so we can target, those are our upside targets. And then of course, for us to 2 down, we can target this, and then we may have trouble with this area again. The thing about it is if we don't push up, we could just stay inside all next week. I mean, we can double outside week. That SPY can do that, but I mean, honestly, I would really like an inside week. That would just be ideal. Give us a week of rest, and then that'll set up whatever next move we do. So ideally, it would be nice if we can do inside and then move, or inside and then down, whichever way we decide to go. Macro, I'm still bearish though, y'all. I'm not going to be completely bullish again until SPY breaks this 200 and holds above it. It would need to do this stuff above here and then go for me to say, all right, we're bullish. Market's bullish. Yeah, because the Qs are still technically in a bear market, even though time frame continuity is green. And, also we do want to pay attention to that. Time frame continuity is green, so you really shouldn't short unless you get a solid confirmation, like on the week, that inside week, and then the move to the downside, because as of now, we're still green. So yeah, Qs did the exact same thing outside week. On a month, is coming back in. They're like so similar, and prices are so close that they're almost like the same type of triggers. So, if you're watching SPY and QQQ, you really should be watching Apple, which is what FICO was just talking about. The Apple reversal is what he's looking for, the hammer. The Qs will look just like that. Well, no, actually, they don't. No, that's interesting. Maybe it's Microsoft. No, Microsoft did not do the outside week. So what pushed the Qs like that? Netflix and Amazon. Yep. So yeah, it looks just like SPY. Same thing. Ironed out this gap here. And we have this mother bar here to see if we have enough strength to fill. And then this gap to the upside is at barely 322. There's not really one to the downside on Qs. But yeah, shoulder, head. Do we make a shoulder here? IWM is the small caps. Again, exactly the same. Coming in on the month. Almost did an outside week. Some of these that did not finish the outside week, if we are bullish, you can look for those hammers to go in force to finish those outside weeks. So, I mean, it's not much range on that, but that's just a, And so we talked about AMD. Starbucks was actually really nice this week. It did the outside week and the outside month in the same week. Starbucks usually doesn't move like that. I missed that. I was a little bit salty on that, but that was a really good move. The 3-2 up to the trigger. Could have held that all week. Right to this 200. And now that it's made this move and it's taken these stops out, I am looking at this shooter here. Possible rejection of this 200 to come back down to this 8. And Starbucks is cheap. So this could be a play, good play early in the week. Would have liked this to be an inside 4 hour, but make it work. Because it's still that 2 down would be the 2 up, 2 down trigger on the day. Just keeping in mind this, I think this is a 200 EMA. But that would be your target, 87.20. And then Baba, Baidu, JD, they all are rev stratting on the week and look really good. This range on Baba is really nice. Now, the only thing Same with Baidu. Nice range. The only thing I noticed was that the gap up and rejection here, possible rev strat. But y'all know how these things gap. It could gap down and do that and then continue if it decides to do that. If it does not, I mean, I don't know. Are you looking at this at puts for puts at all or just for calls? Because for
I like
me,
it for calls. I'm looking at it for calls.
yeah, I really.
But either way, it's basing. That's my thing. It hasn't really broken
Mm-hmm.
support. Like it's trading within a range. So
Yes.
I'm expecting
I really
a
don't think
nice
it
little
will.
move. But we shall see. It's kind of.
The only thing that gives me, well, the Baba's daily looks better.
Mm,
But we are at this, point of resistance right here. And the other thing is the time frame continuity is
in
kind of in
conflict.
conflict. Yeah. But I feel like, I mean, even on the 4 hour, I guess this could be played to up to down back into time frame continuity if it decides to go. It's just not on the
Mm-hmm.
weekly signal. Weekly we're looking at, the only weekly signal we have here is the rev strat. So we would be looking at calls. But if it didn't on a shorter time frame, I guess you could play it. Because it would be a rev strat on the day if this came down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it could be targeted at the bottom of this broadened
The
information.
bottom. Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then consequently, I guess this could, where is the month open?
A trigger.
Yeah. Month open is 92.76. So actually, the rev strat would turn the month green. So yeah, the rev strat would turn the month green. We have some resistance here, resistance here. This is the strat target, and then top of the broadening formation is 108. And on the month, still inside, so it's not doing anything. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is still, this mother bar, but you can trade it. This is a compound bar. This is almost like the 3 that is trading inside. So, yeah. So I like Baba and Badu. I think
Yeah, I feel like if Baidu could hold above 140, it'll be good. There's a little range. Because Baidu can run, so.
Yes, and especially that, yeah, that would be
Baba's a little
great.
bit more iffy, but when Baidu wants to run, it
It
runs.
runs. And breaking above this 8 and these 8 and 20 is tight right here too. So breaking above that would be great. So yeah, keep China on y'all list, y'all. Was watching Futu. Oops. Futu actually was a good play this week. It's a double inside week now, so it's not a strat signal at all. But Monday that was a great move right there. So yeah, this looks a little different than this double inside. But double inside, y'all. So that's something we do watch. JD. It's also that rev strat. Same thing with the time frame continuity. Same thing with them. JD is cheaper than Baba and Badu. It doesn't move as much, but it's a cheaper option. And then PDD. Oh, that looks different. These are old lines. Yeah. So, I think that's all I had. I had some other ones that had triggered the month or were about to. Cost is May. So if SPY runs, look at cost.
Course will run. Mm-hmm.
This will go to the fill this. Granted, cost is a little expensive, but give it some time and play for your target. This could work. Nice hammer right there. eBay is not. These must have been. Oh yeah, N2 is about to. N2 is kind of expensive though. Netflix. And we said new. Overstock is about to. Another cheapie. If it can break this resistance here, this may go. It's based for a while. And Pep. It's a few dollars away. Nice bounce here. Oh wait, Roblox. Sitting at that trigger. So if this can break this resistance, that might be a good move. And then, top of the bottom formation is the outside target. Rivian had a lot of volume on Friday. So just wanted to let y'all know about that. And I tweeted about T-Mobile. It's almost done, but yeah, that was really, it moved nice. Did the outside week and month. And triggered the month. Tesla triggered the month. So I don't know if these are any that you guys play, but just looking at how we were a little bearish, but then they came back in. And now that they are triggering, if we start to stay bullish, these are some things that are triggered or are about to. Straight off the TD Ameritrade scanner thing. Banks have been doing nice. Kiki, I think, told us to watch Banks. So, and X is another one of my favorites.
Yeah, they didn't even look back at it.
Yeah, Wells Fargo did great on
Yeah, it did.
it was, yeah, and MS too. I was watching. Yeah, Morgan Stanley did wonderful. But y'all, X, if this decides to go, it's another cheapie. It's trying to outside month. It's only $1 away, but this is cheap. So this is one of those you would buy like at the money and just let it run that dollar. On the week we have an inside week, and the target is like right there. So and on the day, so if we can break above this, I think it was a 4 hour. Yeah, it was the inside 4 hour. Nope. It was this, but it was this break is the weekly break. So a cheapie for y'all if y'all want to catch the last little dollar of that move, and then watch it for possible puts. But
I like that some of these stocks are taking out the monthly high from last month already. So you're going to have to keep pushing, or it's going to be a good opportunity to catch a little pullback. Yeah.
Yep. So that's all. Oh, you know what? I have not checked the chat. That's really all I have. Oh, Shay, did you catch SPY? I may have looked at that first before you got on here. Let me look at XPX. So.
Yes, Lala, I did. I had posted that before you started.
Oh, perfect. Okay, perfect. All right, we good then. Does anybody else here have any questions or anything they looking at?
Can you look at McDonald's? McDonald's? I'm not at the computer.
What's up,
I love
McDonald's. Good morning to you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I was looking at McDonald's. They were kind of moving like SPY, but then they kind of stopped doing that. But I like to play McDonald's like as far as consumers staple, and it's like I mean, it's food, fast food, and then they big retail company because they own all of the real estate from the McDonald's, so they're kind of like a secret real estate play also.
Very true. I like McDonald's.
I've been hitting them all last week. It's like a slow mover, but because they're so expensive, like $200,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the 1% move is still, a couple of dollars on the day.
Yeah, it is, and it's pretty safe. Kiki actually showed me how somewhat safe McDonald's is, but yeah, it looks like we're about to trigger the outside month there, and we closed above the 8 on the week. That's really good. Closed above all of the EMAs. And so see, this is what I would look for to being bullish. We're above all EMAs. So like being long-term bearish on McDonald's wouldn't even make sense because we're trading above all of the EMAs. On the day we saw that inside day. And so let's see. Bounced here off the 200 on the day. Rejected the 50. And this is an interesting spot. Because we've triggered the monthly. So the bigger, larger time frame tells me that we're going to continue up. We can certainly H as well. I'm always prepared for that. So I don't know. I like this for the breakup though. Only thing is I really don't like playing two continuations. But the larger, if this can hold above this 50% trigger and stay in force, the larger time frame would tell me that we would go ahead and target this 267. Let's see, we're September 10th, so that'd be what, 2.5 weeks? And it's also kind of filled this gap here. The 4 hour. Let's see, we crossed above here, but it looks like this 50 is some resistance. So I remember when TTD did this. It's basing here though, so I like that. So kind of have to see what this does. If it can break this 50, then I would go ahead and take it to continue for that monthly. If not, I would be looking for this. It actually could even trade sideways right here and iron this out.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping it kind of ranges up sideways.
Yeah.
Try to put a spread on it with some levels.
Oh, you're gonna have to talk to us about those spreads now.
Well, I'm learning now, so that's why I'm kind of asking about it. Because I got an iron condor on McDonald's. Matter of fact, when I get to the computer, maybe I can show y'all so I can kind of learn what the hell I'm doing over here. Explaining.
I keep saying I'm going to do it, and then it's so much to do. I can't do it all. But I definitely want to learn those. Because aren't those also beneficial around earnings time because of the IV? Like, you're taking advantage of IV, right?
I'm not necessarily sure, but I know there is a play that does take advantage of directional moves, whether you know if it's going the up direction or down direction. But I got to look at my notes. But I definitely know there's a spread specifically for stuff like that. News, FDA approvals, earnings, anything that's going to spike the price one way or another.
Right. Well, maybe you know what? I think that'll be our homework for next week. I'll look at that, and then we can come together next week on our next study session, and we can talk about spreads, and because basically this earnings season is about over, so we can basically get ready for the next earnings season and take advantage of those spreads. Also quad witching is coming up. I meant to
Yeah, I
mention that.
think Qual Witching is next Friday. Is it next Friday?
Yes, it is. It is next
Damn,
Friday.
already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Actually forgot about that. Oh, so we need to keep that in mind when looking at SPY. We already had a volatile short week, kind of, sort of, but keeping in mind that quad witching is on Friday of next week. Monthly expirations, quarterly expirations, they all expire on Friday. So, yeah. No, that's not quite a pivot machine gun, but yeah. So, yeah, not tomorrow. Next week should be interesting. I'm already ready. For sure. Let me check the chat one more
Yeah, I'm
time.
excited to make my money back.
I know that's right. I'm
I'm
excited to
excited for
make
the
it.
week. I'm gonna focus on like 5 tickers. That way, when I'm at work, it's cool.
Mm-hmm. Same. And one of them is definitely going to be SPY, so we already know. Whoa.
Oh, did anybody hit on plug for ICL and stuff? Phase First Solar.
My week sucked because I really didn't play much. I played AMD on Thursday because that's my thing. I play AMD on Thursdays, but like I was mostly chill this week. I missed out on a lot. Not happy about that. I was too busy, so I'm not used to trading and being busy like Kiki. So I decided to chill. So, but I was watching them all week. And speaking of that, actually, hold on. I think it was. Is it ICL in that had the inside week? One of them has a setup that I liked. I think maybe it was XOXL. Yes, it had the inside week.
XLF.
XOXL.
Oh, XL. What's that?
It's the semiconductor. Isn't this the one that you told us about?
Soxel. I thought you said XOXL.
Oh, I may have said XOXL. I was looking at S and said X. My bad. Yes, Soxel. It printed a hammer on the inside week. So yeah.
Yeah, that I did miss. It's 3 times leverage, so it's going to move 3 times as faster as SMH. So it's like 3 times leverage. So it was 3 times the green and 3 times the red. So I just wanted to. I forgot to say that.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been
So you're
watching it
getting
since you mentioned it, and
Mhm.
I like how they took out these stops, and now it may be reversing. So if this is a cheaper option than AMD actually, and it printed a hammer on the week. So I just wanted to point that out to folks.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a head and shoulders if I saw one, but it still has to make the shoulder over here. That's something to watch. But okay, y'all. I'm about to head over to the weekend shift. I don't know if anybody else watches Jermaine, but I do. I like to be there to help others and stuff like that, though. So if anybody doesn't have any other questions or anything, I guess I'll see y'all during the week.
Later.
I will see y'all. Thank you for being